What is up? What is up? What is up? This is your main man, JD, in the place to be as always. And today I am joined by a very, very, very esteemed special guest by the name of Steve. Do you want me to give your full government name on here too, my man?
Go for it. Go for it.
Stephen Lewis, aka my awesome brother-in-law. So I had to, knowing that we were going to be discussing Superman, I had to go and grab the person who I honestly believe is the biggest Superman fan that I know. Yep, big time Superman fan. So of course, having him on there, we would have to have Steve on here to talk about it. So yeah, I'm excited to do this whole discussion tonight. I'm excited that the reviews have been positive. I'm excited that the movie has been making money.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna dive into it shortly. But let me get some of these comments on the screen real quick. So Katie Joe in the building, what's going on in the living room? Hey, how are you, baby? I love you. I'm glad that you're able to watch right now. She says that the sound is perfect. And we got Bobicus in the building. What is going on, sir? I believe I'm guessing you're watching on YouTube. Yes. Thank you for tuning in, man. I appreciate you for hanging out with us tonight. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, man. This is gonna be a fun conversation. So I cannot wait to hear what your thoughts are on the movie as well, because this conversation is not just going to be limited to us. It is going to include everybody who has saw the movie, even if you haven't seen the movie yet. It is okay for you to jump in and drop your comments on it. And I see we got a bunch of folks watching right now, so I am greatly appreciative of that. If you are on Twitch right now and you're watching, I would ask you to jump over to YouTube, go to Watch Stuff with Us, search for us in channels. We will be live, jump on there. And if you are on there, you'll be able to get your comments shown on the screen, because I don't know if the Twitch comments end up airing on the screen. But yeah. So that is what we're going to do tonight. We are going to break that down. And then at the end, if we have enough time left, we will go through some other trailers that I would like to get Steve's reaction for, along with myself. So yeah, got a jam-packed show tonight. Steve, before we get started, man, run down your list of credentials as to why you are appropriate to be able to be on here discussing Superman with me tonight, and why you're a bigger fan of Superman than I am.
Great question. Let's start off with grew up with the comic books. Started with the comic books. Comic book historian. So I went and got I would go shop for. It's really hard to get golden age comics, but definitely silver, bronze age comics. Learned that background story. My mom actually really got me into Superman, so I started watching the 1970s Christopher Reeves Superman movies. She was a fan of Lois and Clark growing up. And then that segued me to Smallville. Big fan of Smallville. Took a break from the comics as a little boy, then got back into them as a teenager. Jumped back into it again, watched the animated series. I will say I'm more of a Batman fan, but I got a huge background with Superman there. And so it's been with me since I was a very young child. So when I tell you I came in with a lot of anticipation for this movie, it was there. So
You was hyped.
Ready. I was definitely ready for
it. So let's go ahead and since we've done that. Also, before we even get started, if people want to contact you to talk with you about the movie further, is there some place that people can reach you at online?
Yeah, I'll get back with you. I'm gonna put up. I'm gonna give you some information before we end this podcast. I'll send it to you. You can post it.
Perfect. Because people always ask me that after the fact, and they're like, "Oh my god, man! Like, hey, I wanted to talk. I want to keep the conversation going." So yeah, I just thought I would make sure to ask you that ahead of time so that we can get that squared away. Katie says Smallville. Yeah, truth be told, I'm not the biggest DC Comics fan. I'm a huge Marvel nerd. The historian level that Steve talks about with DC, that's probably where I'm at with Marvel stuff, but nowhere
Mhm.
the sense
Mhm.
for DC. So that's why I had to go and grab the expert. I had to bring the expert on to discuss this movie. So let's jump into the review right now. I'm gonna switch screens and we'll jump into it. All right. So I'm just gonna have this playing a little bit in the background so we can have at least a little motion going on. But yeah. So first off, the way I would like to break this conversation down is a general, just 1 to 2 minute review of the movie, and I'll go ahead and go first. Um, I enjoyed the movie. Actually, this looks like it's slowing things down. I'm gonna jump off of this. Hold on. Okay. Um, I don't know why it is messing up. Okay, there we go. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and just give my review first. I think the movie on a scale of 1 to 5, because on Watch Stuff with Us, we always do a 1 through 5 sliding scale. I would say that the movie is a solid 3.5 out of 5. That's what I would give it. I feel like the movie nailed a lot of things. I felt like they nailed a more comic book tone and look and aesthetic. I feel like the movie is a great jumping off point for a cinematic universe. I feel like the movie was directed well. I feel like it was acted well. I think people did everything that they needed to do as far as the movie is concerned. Um, I disagree with some of the writing with the movie. I
Mhm.
disagree with the way some of the characters were written, and we'll
Mhm.
delve into all of that stuff as we go along with our conversation. But yeah, I pretty much feel as though the movie did what it was supposed to do. It served its purpose. I thought that it was a good movie. I didn't think it was a great movie. I also don't think that it was a bad movie. Like the title of the thumbnail says, I wanted to love the movie, but I was unable to love the movie. That's my quick 2 minute summary.
Mhm.
Go ahead and give yours, Steve.
All right, so I like the 3.5. I cannot go that high. If a 2.5 are at 50%, I'm stuck between 2.5 and 3.
Okay.
And let me elaborate on that. You nailed it with a lot of the things you said. I thought the acting was good. I thought David, I think it's David Cornsweet.
Corn sweat.
Um,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, watching the movie, he does come off as a good Superman. He's believable, um, and I want to like him. I also think you nailed it when you said it does feel like it feels like a comic book. It feels like it was ripped right out the pages of a comic book. If even more than that, it reminded me of, I don't know if you watched the Superman animated series.
Yes.
It
Yes.
reminded me of that. It reminded me of Superman the animated series, which is good. And not just David Cornsweet. I thought the movie had really good actors in it. I thought the acting was one of the strongest parts of it. I do like that James Gunn picked this comic. I kind of read the background of the comics he used to base this movie off of. I like that he did with it. I like the new characters that he introduced in the movie, Mr. Terrific, and the Green Lantern. But this is where the part where I had my issues with it. One, the movie felt like a sequel. It felt like it makes some assumptions that you should know some of these characters and you should know their conflict. One of the big things that I had, and I know I'm elaborating probably too much. One of the big things
No,
I
no, no. Go for it. Go in. Go in.
was, and it really hurt. It really hurt Lex Luthor's story arc because you don't really understand their conflict. So you're watching the movie. I'm watching them like, man, Lex is a real jerk. Like, I don't. Why is he so petty? I don't understand the conflict. Yeah, I know as a historian, like Lex, Superman, they don't like each other. I get that. I get it. But I'm not really. They're not explaining to me. I don't know exactly why that this conflict in this movie is happening because I don't have any background. And so that was an issue for me. And then another one that kept me from loving this movie and giving it more than a 3 is that Superman never felt super in this movie. He never felt super in the movie. He had a very Superboy vibe, although again, I guess he's about 30 in this movie. So
Right.
he's I think they said he's been Superman for 3 years.
3 years. 3 years.
So, like, he should have experience. He just never felt very super to me. And so that, and you nailed it when you said the writing. I had a lot of questions with the writing, and the tone of the movie was some of the things I had some questions with. But just kind of sew it up, and you can go in detail if you like. I do think it was a good start. It was good enough for me to wonder where this is going to go next. So I do think it was a good start for this particular universe. And then I do think they nailed it with the casting of Superman.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I have no problem with any of the actors. I thought that they did great jobs. I feel as though, as far as the characters were written, and let me know if you agree or not. I feel as though they nailed most of the characters outside of Superman.
Yeah.
And I feel like Superman was the least developed character who needed just more. Like, you needed to know more of, like, and I mean, you got the whole scene. And yeah, we're gonna go into full spoilers with this, everybody. So if you
Yeah.
are not going to or if you haven't seen the movie yet, or you are afraid that you're gonna be spoiled, we're about to dive head deep, neck deep, body deep into spoilers. So you have been warned. But yeah, the part, I know that you got the little the writing in the beginning, right after the title, and they explain, that he's been doing this for 3 years. 3 years isn't a long time. I understand that. But I wish they would have also given just maybe a sentence or two, or gave us a 30-second flashback. All this flashback had to do, and what it had to show, was Lex and Clark Kent in school together.
Hmm.
And this is stuff that I've learned from you and also from Katie, about them actually having a background, and that they went to school together in Smallville. Now, I don't know if they were just planning on not adapting that as far as this movie was concerned, but knowing that in the back of my head, what should have been done, at least in my opinion, is that they should have shown them together in school. All it would have had to be is everything from Lex's point of view, just seeing Clark and being jealous of him, and just showing that jealousy building and building and building and building, and then show Lex then using that as motivation for him to to excel in school. So show him, getting great grades,
Hmm.
um show him building his corporation up, all in the back of his mind. Like, maybe he has a class picture of them when they were in elementary school, and he has like Superman's or Clark Kent's picture, circled or something like that. You know what I mean? Just like they needed to show and build on that relationship that they have outside of what we saw in the movie. Because the way they almost made it seem was that when Superman flew into Lex's office
Hmm.
and confronted him about crypto,
Hmm.
they made it seem like that was maybe the first time that they had actually came face to face and had a conversation.
Right.
And if that's not the case, they should have developed that a little bit more.
Right.
And if that was the case, and that was the first time that they were meeting, they should have done something prior to that to show a little bit more of Lex's motivation as to why he is doing the things that he does. I think they addressed it a little bit later on in the movie,
Hmm.
but I don't think that was enough. I think that was kind of too late. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with that. It also would have explained, because if you don't know the background, I think that relationship came off, for me, it started to come off as Lex being very petty. But if you understand that they had a connection that goes back to Smallville, and if you're going back into the comics, it's always something where it's something that Clark Kent did that caused Lex to lose his hair. That's typically, and they change the story up every so often, but almost every storyline, every comic book starts with something that Clark Kent has done causes Lex to lose their hair. They were friends. There's a strong connection to start that story off. And then it explains why Lex is the way he is. That largely explains the confrontation. And so I thought the movie needed that. That was a really good point you made. I thought it really needed to show exactly why the conflict exists. And it didn't do that. And that was something for me that it made, while I thought the actor portrayed Lex very well, as well as he could,
Yep.
writing didn't do him any favors.
Yep.
So it started to come off as like, oh man, he's kind of comic bookish to me. It's
Mhm.
animated
Mhm.
to me. But if you
Mhm.
if you would have known what that confrontation was beforehand and had that knowledge, I think it would have come off better. His performance would have come off better.
Yeah. Also, at least for me, I felt as though Lex um was the type of person, like it didn't feel like, I mean, his hatred towards Superman didn't feel justified from what they gave us,
Hmm.
which is, just another way of saying what we had said previously. But I also feel as though if they would have given I didn't I didn't fear Lex. Like, I think that there should be some sort of aspect to that. And one of the bigger sort of points that I want to make about the movie is that I know that this is just the first movie. And like, maybe we're going to build to that point. As for a jumping off point, like we said before, it was great. Maybe we're gonna build to that point where, like, Lex, now that he's gonna be going to prison, maybe
Hmm.
we're gonna build to that point where he's going to be someone that you really fear, as
Yeah.
opposed to the rich kid, the spoiled kid who has all the money in the world, can do everything that he wants with, just because he has the money. But like, the actual person, no, I don't fear him. Like, he was, the way he treated people, there wasn't things there that instilled fear. It instilled like, just how it is when your boss picks on you,
Yeah. Yeah.
when your boss mistreats you. And I don't think that was the appropriate look. Now, that was somewhat comic accurate, I get that,
Hmm.
but I think that there also needed to have been that edge to Lex that made me say, man, like, okay, this dude is not only um making people afraid of him because he's, throwing stuff around the room and, throwing pencils and making people pick him up, but maybe Lex should have gotten somebody, and, like, and just off the top of my head, maybe he should have gotten somebody and, like, threw him out a window, you know what I mean? And then you would have been like, oh, okay, so he's not just the guy who's going to talk a big game and going to pout and going to, throw fits. He's also the person who's going to take it physically and then, actually act on it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that that's what I was looking for out of Lex.
And to that point,
Mhm.
because I felt like the writers, they wanted the audience to fear him, right? And so there were the moments where he's treating his staff like trash, that kind of just felt out of place. The one that got me, and you said it, full spoilers, right? They're in the prison where they have the metahumans at. Another thing I liked about the movie, I liked they introduced metahumans. I thought that was
Yes.
cool. I thought that was cool. Um, but it's a scene where he pulls up, and I'm a little foggy with some of them. Lex, he pulls up somebody that worked with Superman for a while back, and his intention is to play Russian roulette, and then he
Yeah.
shoots the guy, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, look how tough I am. You should
Right.
fear me because this is what I'm about. And then it's like, okay, it would have been like a moment of fear, but then you had to have like that comedy. He had to make a joke like right after you did that. Oh, I thought that was gonna last longer. and so it took away from even
Yep.
that element.
Yep.
So I
Yeah. Great point.
it was that was just a part of this movie that I just couldn't get attached myself to. Um, wanted him to be this most feared person. It might be like you said earlier. It might be that Lex is going to be the main, not just the main villain in this movie, probably the main villain for this universe. And so
Right.
it's going to probably take some time to build him up. But as far as this first movie, like I said, I never felt Superman was super. I didn't fear Lex. He came off as a spoiled rich brat, basically.
Yep. Yep. No, 100% agree with you. I would love to get some people commenting on the show and letting us know what they think, because I mean, are we just off on, negative island here? I gotta feel that there are some people out there who, or maybe you disagree. Let us know in the comments, man. We would love to get these comments going on the live stream. So if you had to rate who your favorite character was in the movie, who would you say it was?
Guy Gardner.
Only one. Only one.
Guy Gardner.
Guy Gardner. And
Green
why? Why
Lantern.
so? Why?
It, look, I'm also a really big fan of Green Lantern,
Mhm.
and we all know that travesty that came out decades ago,
Don't talk about that. Don't talk about that.
and I know that DC has been trying to get this going, and they've been talking about doing a Green Lantern, John Stewart, for like the last decade, and I think HBO Max is getting ready to go with it. Guy Gardner and some of the lesser known Green Lanterns are typically, for me, are the best.
Mhm.
And he's been the best. Like a lot of them are kind of stuck. Hal Jordan, they're kind of stuck in the sort of silver and bronze age comics. Guy Gardner is a more modern one. If you sort of like the snarky remarks coming from like Spider Man and Deadpool, he kind of has that same feel. And in every scene he was in this movie, he stole the show.
Yep.
He stole the
Yep.
show. And so if moving forward, I am excited to see where he's going with this, where DC is going with Guy Gardner's character. It's interesting because I know they're going to get ready to start the HBO Max series around Jonathan Stewart, but they might want to tweak that and get Guy Gardner in there, because this is a
Yeah.
character that if you want to get Green Lantern going, this is your hook.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. Like you said, I felt like Nathan Fillion's portrayal of Guy
Mhm.
Gardner stole the show, stole every scene that he was in. And like, okay, watching the trailers and then like watching a lot of people, a lot of leaks about this movie before it came out. But watching those leaks as they came out and people talk about them, and then seeing little bits and pieces from the trailers and everything, I looked at it and I'm like, ooh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Like, what is this dude doing with this nasty bowl haircut? Like, what is this? And
Mhm.
so I went into the movie with a negative portrayal or a negative idea of what he was going to be as a character.
Mhm.
And then because like I said, I'm not the huge super fan. I don't know all the background. I don't know everything about everything. So then once the movie got started, I was like, oh, he's kind of entertaining. By the end and by the point where he was taking on the I forgot what the name of the country was, but fighting the fight in the desert, and he's flipping people off with his Green Lantern powers while he's just destroying them.
Yeah.
Like it was everything, and I was like, that's what I want. And like, if you're gonna go comic booky and you're gonna be funny with the character, that was how you do it. And the,
Mhm.
the edge that his character had, like, I enjoyed that.
Mhm.
He was a little bit dim with it, and he had a huge idea of himself, but the way that he was portrayed was great. It was great. It was great. It was great. Oh, got a comment from Courtney on here. What's going on? Great conversation, guys. Yes. Thank you. I think it's a good conversation too. I'm enjoying it already. I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, man, we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time to really, really, really go in. But this is not going to be the last time that Steve is going to be on the show with us. So yeah, thank you for dropping a comment. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button too. um, but yeah, My favorite character, if I had to jump to who my favorite character was, it was probably Mr. Terrific,
He was awesome.
with one caveat,
And I
just
think I
one
know what it is.
caveat. Yep,
Yeah.
with one caveat. But let me do all the good stuff about him first. It was great to see a black character on the screen who is arguably the smartest person in the room. A lot of times they do not portray us in that fashion, so it was really cool to see that. Um, I thought that the movie, up until the point where he went to go with Lois Lane to rescue Superman, the movie was kind of meh. Like it was, if I gave it a 3.5, it was probably at a 2.5 or a 2 up until that point. And then when he used his tech to be able to figure out exactly where Superman was at, then when he went with Lois and put the shield of protection around her and then ran through those guys, that's the point where I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
this dude is serious. He's not
Amazing.
just smart, he has full control over all of his tech. He's not, I
Yes.
mean, and like I said, I don't know much about him. And I didn't know what to expect. So seeing that and then seeing the way that they showed his powers, like that was great. I thought that was one thing that James Gunn, the director of the film, nailed, was the
Mhm.
way that everybody's powers looked. Like that
Mhm.
came off good, off really
Mhm.
good. My only complaint about Mr. Terrific, and you know where I'm going with this, is
Mhm.
that he was too like 1970s 1980s Shaft for me.
Yeah,
Like
he's
he
very
could have,
stereotypical.
yeah, he could have been the exact same character without all of that. And I think that made it come across as being a little bit like stereotypical,
Mhm.
and it was unnecessary. If they
Mhm.
would have just played him straight and him being, like you taught me that he is kind of on the autism spectrum.
Yeah.
If they would have
Yeah.
played it like that and that he was socially awkward because of
Mhm.
that, like that's fine. But when he would have those bursts of confidence and then it would all come off like, well, I'm not even gonna try to imitate it, but it would come off as, yeah, very like stereotypically black, and that
Yeah.
was unnecessary. I didn't feel
Yeah.
like that didn't need to be a thing. If they would have
Yeah.
just played it straight away, I would have
Mhm.
been okay with it.
Mhm. And I'm glad you said that because that's one of my that's it's kind of a little off topic, somewhat off topic. But that's my issue with Ironheart, the show I've been watching on Disney. It's yes, this character is extremely smart. They're this intellectual, but we got to throw in this jargon, this lingo to try to make them relatable, and it's just largely not necessary.
Yep.
They could
Yep.
have played him as socially awkward. I thought that would have been perfectly fine. That's another one of the issues I had with the movie. It's jam packed. It's about what's the movie runtime, like 2 hours, a little over 2 hours.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
it was
jam
over.
packed, and there's moments where you want to see more of a certain character in a certain scene. It's like, man, I wish they would stretch this out. I want to see more of Mr. Terrific. I want to see more of Guy Gardner. I could have did without Hawk Girl, but I want to see more of these two and get into their story arc a little bit more. And the thing about Mr. Terrific, his powers were just off the chain. He was amazing, like a brilliant debut from him. Um, and you left wanting to see more of it. The issue I had with Mr. Terrific is what you said, the stereotypical performance, and then this is kind of me overdoing it a little bit, but they weren't consistent with the awkwardness. So like, he starts off being kind of socially awkward with his interactions with Lois,
Hmm.
but then it's like all of a sudden he's making jokes. He's the comic relief. Guy
Right.
Gardner is your comic relief. Let
Yep.
Guy like let that be the comic relief. So the inconsistencies there and just wanting more from it was one of the major issues I had with the movie.
Yep. No, I'm 100% in agreement with you. So let's jump into now on the other side. Who was your least favorite character and why?
Hawk Girl, she wasn't there enough for me to really say she was my least favorite, but she could have been completely out of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I go back and forth with Lois. There's a part of me, I'm very 50-50 with Lois in this movie. The scene where she's interviewing Superman, I thought that scene was really good. I like that scene. I like that her intensity can match. She's not intimidated by him because he's Superman. She can still question him, and the fact that they're in a relationship, they're in an open relationship in this movie. That doesn't stop her either. It reminded me briefly of that 1978 Superman and that relationship. It seems like they were really going for it. Um, but then that chemistry and everything there just kind of disappears. So the rest of the movie can happen. And that's where it just starts getting rushed. And then her character is just, it's not pivotal anymore. So it
Yep.
starts off, you want to believe that there's going to be a lot of chemistry. The trailers lead you to believe there's going to be chemistry in this movie. But I would say going into the second part of the movie, there's no chemistry there. She disappears, and it's because she's not needed for the rest of the movie to happen. An issue that I thought was the Jimmy Olsen character in this movie. I thought a lot of things that Jimmy Olsen was doing in the movie could have been given to Lois. Lois could have had a good portion of that, screen time that we had to provide for Jimmy Olsen there.
Mhm.
Nothing against Jimmy, but that could have went to Lois. And because it's like you can't start her off being okay, you're going to be a main player, and then she kind of just disappears. She's on the airplane with Mr. Terrific for reasons that she didn't need to be there. And
Right.
then so it's just like they're trying to put her in the movie so she can get it. But the scene that I thought she could have been in was a lot of Jimmy's scenes.
Yep. And you
You
know
go
what?
back there.
If I could interject real quick, what I kind of thought was going to happen, and seeing the way things played out with Jimmy, and him getting the text messages from Lex's girlfriend, and then discovering all the information in the background and all that stuff. Like, to me, the way that should have played out was that Jimmy could have been more of the little bit that I know about, kind of player Jimmy, from the comics and stuff. But Lois could have somehow maybe seen his phone going off and saw, like, saw it on the desk or whatever, and then saw, like, whatever the weird nickname he had for her, like Monster Toes or whatever it was.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
then, she's like, kind of, they flash over to Jimmy, and he's talking to those two ladies that were sort of oogling over him at one point. He's talking to them on the side. So she goes and she grabs his phone. She looks at the phone. She sees the pictures that come in. Jimmy sees the pictures initially, and he just looks at it like, oh, this is just her sending me selfies. Like, why do I want this? She looks at it, zooms in, and sees the stuff in the background. Then that gives her character more purpose. Like,
mm,
oh, she discovered that all this stuff was in the background. All
mhm,
of this information is here. Now she is the reason why they have this information now, and that Jimmy
mhm,
can go and write this story, and they can publish it, and they can take down Lex. Like, I feel like that was more fitting for the way Lois Lane is portrayed in the comics, and being this crack reporter, as opposed to just sort of a passenger on the Superman plane. Like,
right,
which is the way it kind of came off to me at least. But
right,
um
right.
yeah, I if I had to give a character that I dislike the most, it would have to be Lois, probably, as well. And it's nothing against, like, I'm not one of those guys that down with women, and I don't like any female characters. No, that is not it. I just feel like that there were some improvements that could have been made. If I had to give a second place, or actually probably even stronger, um I dislike the most is probably Superman. Like, just to be honest, I mean, he was Superman, and like you said, Superman wasn't very super in this movie.
No.
He wasn't. And if, like I said earlier, if this is an arc that they're building with him, and that in the next movie he's going to be tougher, he's going to come back better, okay. But in this movie, the development that they gave him. He started off the film getting his butt kicked.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout the movie, he got his butt kicked.
Mm-hmm.
If Crypto wasn't there, he would have lost the last fight. The engineer and Ultraman darn near killed him
Mm-hmm.
twice.
Mm-hmm.
Like the kaiju monster that started off a foot and a half tall,
Mm-hmm.
um stomped on him and he was down and out. Like I mean, it was rough, and I'm expecting, and like I said, it's 3 years in, and I guess that there's going to be more and more character development for him. But from what I saw initially, like, no, it just wasn't it. And um I thought that they kind of criminally wasted all of the other folks who work at the Daily Planet. Like,
Yeah.
we didn't get to see any sort of development from them, and I know that you don't really have a ton of time, but it just would have been nice to have seen a little bit more of actual Clark, um, and how he was when he's not Superman. And I'll let you go into his parents, because I know that you got some stuff to say about his parents too, as do
Yeah.
I.
And before I get to the parents, I thought you brought up a good point about that. The movie moves so fast that you didn't get to see the Daily Planet. You don't really get to understand Clark Kent's a journalist. I wanted to get
Right,
that feeling. We haven't really seen that. That was one of my knocks on Man of Steel. Henry Cavill was never Clark Kent. You didn't really
right.
know he wasn't Clark Kent to the end of the movie. The trailers of this one, you see him with the glasses, and he has
Yeah,
the whole
bumping
nerd
around.
look,
Yep.
but that wasn't a major part of this movie. So that was disappointing. I do want to see. I really do want to see the whole alter ego aspect of Superman, which we haven't seen in a long time. And this movie, I didn't really get that vibe either. I want to see Clark Kent. I want to feel that he's a journalist, and I want to see the difference between Clark Kent and Superman and how that goes. But that's that. The another issue, and it's a small but monumental issue, is his Superman's parents, both his Kryptonian parents and his Earth parents.
Mm-hmm.
To me, you have to nail those, and I just didn't see it, and that's the reason why I can't give this movie. I can't give it more than a 3, because we already talked about we don't understand the conflict between Superman and Lex. We also, I think, you to understand Superman's motivation and his fight for hope, you have to understand both set of parents, and I don't think they did that very well. I understand the movie was fast, and so it wasn't a lot you could do with the Kryptonian parents. They didn't want to go back and do a whole Krypton scene. I get that, but can we at least nail the Kents? Can we at least nail the Kent family? And I didn't think they did it. I know Katie knows that. Katie knows because she watched Smallville. If you grew up on Smallville, if you watched the other Superman movies, you read the comics, his parents are the ones that ape him. And I thought this movie just missed it. I didn't see any type of leadership from the parents, the mother or the father in there. They kind of it almost feels like they didn't know. They like I know he's not yours naturally, but you all raised him since he was at least a toddler, and they're
Right.
kind of looking like, is my son gonna be okay, ma'am? Like, how would she know? You're his parents, you're his father. And then they cut from the scene, and Superman is just kind of down and out, and the father, I didn't feel that sort of like get back at there moment from him. Father's weeping and crying with him. I wanted that scene. This needed to be a pivotal scene where Jonathan Kent is just like, no, you're gonna get out there. I'm
Pep
not
talk
playing
time.
with you. Get your butt out there.
Yes. Yes.
There's Superman, and I didn't feel that at all. And you remember, look, Man of Steel had a lot of issues, but Kevin Costner's portrayal as Jonathan Kent was really strong, and you don't get that. And I can't think of the actor played in the Dukes of Hazzard that was the father in Smallville. It'll come to me, but you always feel like this character is his support system, and
Yep.
it wasn't there, and it explains why kind of sometimes Superman is the way he is in this movie. But his strength comes from the parents, mother and father, and you gotta realize they're raising Super, and I didn't that just didn't occur in this movie.
Yep. Katie dropped the comment. She says, yes, 100%. The parents in this movie were way different than in Smallville. They were real soft on him and should have been pumping him up. He's freaking Superman. Yes. Like that. Exactly. Exactly. Like that was their time to say, like, yeah, you know what? I'm not your dad. Um, I'm not your true parents, but we raised you. We instilled these values in you. And we didn't raise a quitter. We didn't raise somebody who's gonna go here and get beat down. Like you're like Katie said, you're freaking Superman. Like go out there and be Superman. And then his mom could have came up and threw his boots at him and said, "Put these on and go." And like
Mhm,
then he could have been like had a weird look on his face, and then
mhm.
like just boom took off.
Yeah.
Like then boom, like then he would have could have went into it. Like I don't like I said, the only thing in my mind that tells me the reason that they don't do this, because I feel like if I can come up with these ideas, you have people who make hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars, writing movies that come up with ideas the same way. The only way that they didn't come up with this idea and they aren't making this movie this way is because they are planning on doing that later. That has to be part of it. Like there's no reason for this to have come off the way that it did if they are just going to have him be soft Superman the entire time. Like they have to be building to a point where something is going to change in him to make him a little bit tougher. So, like I said, I'm trying to be patient and understanding in that this just the first chapter of the book. And fortunately enough for all of us, there were enough people who went to go see it this weekend and probably over the next week and weekend as well before Fantastic Four comes out, that we will be able to get more. And I know that we're going to have more. I think next summer is Supergirl coming out,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we're going to definitely get more from the universe. So I I just hope that this is just, I got to keep trying to tell myself that this is just part one. It's
Mhm,
just part one.
mhm.
But yeah, I wanted more. I wanted more out of his parents. I thought that was a critical scene in the movie that they played
Yes,
really soft. And
absolutely,
I didn't think that it should have been played that way.
absolutely.
And Katie put on here that John Schneider is the name of
Yes,
the actor.
that's
Yeah.
him. Yep,
Yep, yep, yep. Thank you, Katie. She's like producing the show from the side, so I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
appreciate that.
Um, is anybody else? I know you talked about Hawk Girl real quick. I love the actress who plays Hawk Girl. Like,
I do too.
yeah, I really wish they would have gave her a little bit more. Like, I feel
Mhm,
like they could have made her. They should have made her either serious or also a little bit funny, but she kind of was like in between, and it
mhm.
didn't
They know how
really
to play her.
yeah, they didn't really give her a chance to showcase her powers either. Like, I mean, of course she was flying and
Mhm,
she had her giant mace thing, but like you didn't really get to see enough out of her.
mhm.
So yeah, I would have definitely liked to have seen more out of her. Is there
Especially
anybody else who we haven't really touched on?
yeah, yeah, and then with Hawk Girl, it would have been good if they would have given her a and again, the runtime was 2 hours. I know you weren't gonna get a lot from it. You couldn't get from everyone there. But, especially since you introduced, in Black Adam, Hawkman.
Mm-hmm.
So you've kind of went there already, so it would have been interesting, to do more with that. I they coulda did a little bit more with Perry Williams. Again,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Daily Planet was just they didn't really explore that because of time. But I think, we really pretty much know that one, but, I would have probably wanted to see a little bit more out of Hawk Girl and the characters from the Daily Planet. They could have did more with that as
yeah,
well.
yeah. What did you think of of What is his name? Is it Metamorpho? Is that
Yes, yes,
okay? Yeah. What did you think of his character? Like I said, I don't know a lot, but I enjoyed the little bit that they got out of him. I wish they would have shown him in that battle that they had in the desert. Like they should
yes,
have gave him a little bit of time to like show him like really use his powers.
yes.
I thought that would have been cool. To at least give us that, but I enjoyed the little bit of the arc that they gave us with him
I
throughout
did
the
too.
movie.
I did too. I again, like I said earlier, I like that they brought the metahumans. That was a big thumbs up from this movie. I like that they introduced the metahumans. Um, I at the beginning I thought, when it comes to editing, I could have seen a little bit less of him, maybe a little bit more of somebody else in there, because it did get to be a little distracting to me towards, especially if they broke him out. After they broke him out of
Right,
the prison, it started to
right,
be getting a little much. It's like I get it, I get that he can morph into different things. I like that he was able to create the sun to give Superman energy. That part was good. But after they broke it out and he had to go get his son, it just started to get a little bit much. So I could have took a less there, but more toward the second scene he was in when they were in the desert. I could have seen more of that part.
yep,
So if I could go back, it would be kind of how I would use him.
yep.
Less in that prison, more in that sort of the desert fight that he was involved in.
It also tells us something, and for everybody too, it also should tell you something that we haven't even talked about Ultraman up until this point. Um, I did hear a theory that was pretty cool. But yeah, I thought that Ultraman was okay. I mean, of course
Mhm.
they neutered him because he was being controlled by Lex and all that stuff. Like that's and I mean I understand that that's kind of part of what that character does, and it's a little bit of a different take on it. But
Mhm.
um what I heard someone theorize, and this was Josh from the Den of Nerds, he said that he felt that at the end when he got sucked into that black hole that he wasn't killed, and that eventually maybe down the line they're gonna bring him back as Bizarro. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I could see that. I could see that, and I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, they're not gonna get away from that character is gonna be too strong. That character is too needed. They're
Yep.
not done with that character. I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like they use I don't know if you caught it, but they use the sort of the Lex suits that are popular in the comic books and the animated series. So his characters all had sort of the Lex Luthor armor on. So I
Right.
like that he had that. It was a good throwback to the comics and the animated series. But Ultraman will return. Like
Yeah.
that's a character they can do a lot of different things with. I can't see them just getting away from that.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree. Let's jump to a different topic. Um, and I had it written down as media success versus box office success versus fan reaction. And the reason I had that down is that um initially when the movie came out and the reviews started rolling out, I was firmly in the camp of not going to see it. Like I wasn't going to go see it. Like legitimately was not going to go see it. I was like, okay, I'll it maybe a week or two down the line, I wasn't going to go see it. So then the initial reviews started coming out early on Tuesday, and I got a little bit of FOMO, and everybody was raving about it. You got people talking about how they were teared up and crying with how good the portrayal of Superman was, and that his portrayal or this movie was going to inspire young boys to always have hope and to be to try to always do the right thing and blah 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 blah. So you had that, and that made me go out and get my ticket. First off, I decided to look online and see if they had any of the Tuesday Amazon preview tickets available.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
fortunately enough, they did. Now I'm not mad that I went to go see it. I'm not mad.
No,
Because I was going to see it anyway.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
we had all that stuff come out, and the reviews were overwhelmingly positive coming out. The box office, from what it seems, has been it's overperformed
Mhm.
at the box office, which is a good thing. I'm happy about that because, like I said, I want to see this movie continue to be um, I want to see this just be the start of the cinematic universe for DC. So we needed to have that happen. And then as time has now gone on, the fan reaction is interesting to me. So I'll start with you've already got everybody's already got my reaction to the movie. They know you how you feel about it. When the movie was over, I went to the bathroom, and of course, for whatever reason, there were a bunch of people, so there was kind of a line, and I was rocking my Superman shirt like I'm rocking now. So obviously, everybody knew what theater I was coming from. And a guy asked me, like, so what'd you think of it? And I was like, it was okay. It was good, but I was expecting a little bit more. And he looked at me and he was like, "Man, you know what? I saw everybody, raving about it online today, and I'm a nerd, so I went and got my ticket and I saw it. I was in the same theater as you were, and I kind of feel the same way. Like it was good, but it wasn't great, and I was expecting great. So
Mhm.
it was just kind of cool to run into somebody who was in the same theater as I was, who had pretty much had the same experience with buying their tickets as I did. And for them to be sort of on the fence about it too, I thought that was interesting. Now, as time has went on, I've been on X constantly because I love watching and reading news and stuff on there, and just seeing the overall fan reaction has definitely been positive. But
Mhm.
there are definitely sections of people who are like, "Yo, this was good, but it wasn't as good as everybody made it seem." And I'm just happy, and I'll let you comment on it. But I'm just happy that there are those dissenting views out there. A lot of times we get, and at least and I know it's pretty much with all entertainment, you have those people who are just super fans of something, and they are just there, and it doesn't matter if they just throw slop. Superman could have came on the screen and said, "I'm Superman," and spun around for 45 minutes, and somebody would have said, "Oh, it was the best portrayal of Superman ever," because that's just what people do these days.
Mhm.
But I'm glad that there are people out there who are being a bit more divisive about the movie and not as supportive of it. And I think that those sort of dissenting views need to be out there. I can't tell you the last time I watched the movie and I got finished with it, and I was like, it was incredible, and it was the best thing that I've ever seen. It was you can't really find any flaws in it, even though after the fact I did find flaws in it. But like after I saw Endgame, um,
Mhm.
Infinity War and Endgame,
Mhm.
like watching those, I was just like, yeah, this is it. Like this
Yeah.
is like
Yeah.
that was peak. That was top
Yeah.
tier. That was the best of the best. So I kind of go into everything now comparing it to that. And that it's kind of unfair for everything else to be, to come along afterwards, even the Marvel stuff, even and
Mhm.
especially the DC stuff. But
Mhm.
it's kind of but I compare everything to that. To me, that is the type of movie that deserved those raves, that drew tears from people, that had people clapping at the end of the movie. Like when I went to go see it, nobody really clapped.
No.
Um,
No.
like people were talking about how funny it was and stuff before the movie came out, and I laughed at Guy Gardner a few times.
Yeah.
I laughed at Mr. Terrific a few times, but for the most part, I was silent. Some other people were laughing and yucking it up, but it's pretty silent on it. But I really feel as though there's this constant battle now between established media, YouTube kind of media, and just your general fan. And
Mhm.
it makes me feel a certain way when I feel as though I can't always trust what the media says about something. And then also you have these other people out here who are on YouTube or on X or on Twitch, and they kind of just shill for these movies,
Mhm.
and that kind of turns me off too. So I mean, I everybody, you can only call it how you see it, and I get that. And maybe it was everything for you, but it just wasn't for me. It just wasn't for me.
I have that a similar conflict with that too. 'Cause I think, there's I'm someone that loves cinema. So there's this cinematic critic in me and then the fandom in me and trying to balance that out. So like I think there's people that will go in a movie. If you wanted to feel good about the direction of the DC universe, if you wanted to see a actor portray Superman, if you wanted that symbol of hope, and you got that, and then you could attach yourself and say, I love it, I love it. Good visuals. But then if you're that cinematic critic, there was too many things that I could pinpoint at the theater the next day that I didn't like, that made me say, okay, this is a good movie, not a great movie. And then I'm like you, the bar for superhero movies have kind of gone up and down. I remember like the early Superman movies really good. The Superman sequels were bad. Batman '89 kind of took the bar back up. The
Yep.
Batman sequels took the bar back down. Then we get the X-Men and Spider-Man got it back up again. And the Avengers, like you said, Endgame, Infinity War, took the bar up there. These movies can be like best picture of the year. So now you're like, no, this wasn't one where I'm applauding. This is not one where I'm in tears. This is not one that I'm going to be talking about years on. And so, yeah, I've definitely seen that. And I think you're getting a group that, I think there was a group ready to kill this because James Gunn was attached to it. You definitely had a group that was ready to just kill it. And then I think you had a group that overdid it with it. So it's one of these things now, like you said, it's hard to find who you trust and whose opinion that you trust. And so, like, what I try to do, like what we're doing here, is really give you a layout of what you didn't like, what worked, what didn't work. And sometimes that's what I look to hear, as opposed to, out a rating.
Yep.
What did JD, what did he like, what did he dislike, and why? What did
Yep.
Steve like, dislike, and why? That's where the value in the critique comes from.
Yep.
So I think you have to do a little bit more of that, because I'm like you. I think there's definitely, now it's hard to trust people's opinion.
Yep, I see we got a comment from Chimera here. Worst Superman film to date. So first off, let me give you a little air horn real quick. We're jumping in. Appreciate it. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and subscribe to the channel, because we talk this type of stuff all the time. So but yeah, worst superhero or Superman film to date. Now that I won't say, no, I won't say it's the worst, because some of those sequels like Superman 3,
And four,
yeah, and 4 back in the day were rough. Like
yeah, they were rough watch.
that was bad. Like I mean, I definitely, maybe you haven't seen those. Yeah,
They were
you
rough.
want to see some bad, please go back and watch those, because
Yes.
that was not good. That was not good. But yeah,
I
I
definitely like Man of Steel better. I'm on the record of saying Man of Steel to me was better. The Forgotten Superman Returns with Brandon Roth,
yep,
I thought
yep.
had potential. It missed some things, but yeah, I won't go as far as saying it's the worst film to date, but I have my issues with it.
Yep. Nope, I did too. So yeah, I kind of disagree, but yeah, I was definitely disappointed in it from I was expecting it to be. And Kamaya just dropped another comment. Nobody counts those ones as their sequels, but I'll be clear, worse first. Okay,
Absolutely. Yeah.
got you 100%. I'm with you on that. Yep. Thank you for clearing that up, because
Yep.
now I am 100% with you. Yeah. I just, and as we've laid out, we wanted more, and I think this is a good point that we can segue now into our conversation, our last sort of topic on this. But and I'll let you start off too. Where does DC go from here? Like, what this was a to me, at least in my opinion, it was a good start to a universe. If this is your ground floor is solid. It's not, it's not the best, it's not the best foundation that it could have been, but it's solid. It's good enough to build another floor on top of. So where do you think it goes from here?
Well, I think they're gonna drop the Supergirl movie, and she had a slight part that I didn't like towards the end of the
Yeah,
movie.
Why don't you talk about that real quick?
So I guess what Crypto is her dog,
Right,
and
right.
Superman is taking care of Crypto. And,
And she's a drunk.
yeah, she's a drunk, and she just disrespects him, just like whatever. Like this is Superman. She's just completely disrespects him. And so does Crypto. Crypto is like very disrespectful to him. And
Right?
he's dog sitting. That he's dog sitting. That's why Crypto doesn't listen to him. So I think they're gonna go. That'll be like probably the next direction. I know they're gonna do. They're gonna introduce another Batman into DC. They're gonna do two separate Batmans. So I think it's Batman Bold and the Brave. That used to be an animated series. I know that Teen Titans are coming. Um, and I think at Teen Titans, and I want to say they're probably going to do a Wonder Woman as well with that. And then I know Peacemaker is going to do season 2 coming up soon. I think with a Peacemaker cameo in the movie
It
too.
was. It
So
was. It
yeah, I
was.
think that's the direction they're going to. But I'm telling you, I would explore what works well, and I thought I would definitely get into Guy Gardner and probably push them more in that Green Lantern series whenever they get to it for HBO Max.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you on that. The fact, oh, we got a comment from Katie real quick. I'm obsessed with Crypto. He needs his own movie pronto. Yeah. Crypto saved the day on multiple
Yeah.
occasions. Like if Crypto wasn't there, this movie would have been completely different because Superman would have just probably gotten killed at certain points because Crypto saved the day, man. But yeah, I feel like if we can, I think James Gunn does a great job with ensemble movies, and he does great when he works with groups. So I think once we eventually can build up to the Justice League, that's probably going to be phenomenal. I thought I enjoyed what he did with Creature Commandos. I watched that. I like what he's done with Peacemaker. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I did.
And season 2 coming out soon. If you like Peacemaker, or if you enjoyed the first season, we will be doing live watch parties for that every day that it comes on. And Steve, you are invited if you'd like to come on with us and watch those. But yeah, I love Peacemaker. And I think that if we get to the point where James Gunn is ready to do Teen Titans, that's probably going to be great too. Only because I do trust him with those groups
I do too.
of characters and how
Yeah.
they interact and like building that sort of family feel. Like I think that's something that he does well. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
as far as what I think is up next, I think you need to establish your big characters. Like, don't and we're getting Supergirl next, which is I'm a little nervous about that. But we need to get our Wonder Woman in place. We need to get our Batman in place, and you need to if that's Robert Pattinson's Batman, okay, you're gonna have to retcon a whole lot and change up his whole vibe because his current vibe does not fit
Yeah, it
with the
won't.
vibe
Yeah,
of this DC right now.
yeah.
But yeah, they're gonna have to adjust some things, which it could be done. It could be done. But we need to get those three. You got to have your Trinity in place before we can move forward. And I think to establish them and then continue to build from there. You can throw your cyborgs in and Green Lantern. I think it's great that Green Lantern is going to have a show. So I almost guarantee you, and I'm going to go out on a limb, I think that Green Lantern show is going to be better than this movie was.
I can see that.
I think it's going to be better. I think it's going to give people more of what they want, and it's going to have a lot more time to develop the Lantern Corps and all the different versions of Green Lantern and being able to see the development of their own sort of separate area of things and how they sort of will fit into the rest of it. I think that is going to be great. So I'm probably most excited about that. Just the same way you are. We got another comment from Chimera. Honestly, now I want to see if Batgirl was truly worth getting a release. If they think this Superman is a DCU tone-setting blockbuster level film, they completely scrapped Batgirl after they filmed all of it.
Yes,
That
they
movie was
completed the film,
done.
and legally they can never release that.
Really? See, I didn't.
It was part of a bankruptcy settlement, so they can never release this.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy to me. That's crazy
They
to me.
can't put it on HBO Max. They literally have to scrap it.
Wow, that's wild. That's wild. I don't. Yeah, and I mean, I of course, it's a legal thing, but it's crazy to go and make a movie that probably cost $100 to $150 million and just leave it at sunk cost. Like that's wild to me. But yeah, as far as the DC universe, I think that it's in a good place. I really want to see them, and this is one thing that I feel as though Marvel has struggled with, and DC can do a better job with. And if they do a better job with this, they will earn a lifelong fan out of me. Even though I'm going to go see the movies anyway, they'll raise my fandom up a little bit more if they can start nailing villains. Give me villains that are relevant. Give me not one. I don't want any more one-off villains. I don't want somebody who's going to be a villain for a movie and then he's, taken out at the end and then you never see him again. Like, to me, the biggest injustice, pun intended, that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done is their treatment of villains, specifically Ultron.
Oh,
Ultron was criminally
yeah.
treated like that. He was my favorite villain
Yeah.
in watching the different animated series and reading the comics. Like, Ultron was always my favorite. So that's why when they made the second Avengers movie based around Ultron, like, I was super excited. And know that he's supposed to be coming back in Vision Quest.
Yeah.
The series that's supposed to be coming. I think it comes out next year.
I think, yeah.
Next year. I know he's going to be coming back in that, so hopefully they can go and develop him a little bit more. But yeah, that made me mad with the way that they go out in that movie. But yeah, I really hope that DC does a good job with developing their villains. Even if you had films that were around the villains a little bit more, like, tell a Superman story through the lens of Bizarro. Tell these different stories through the lens of a villain, as opposed to always just via the hero. I think that would be a cool way to innovate and change things a little bit as we get more and more into the time where superhero films are a little bit more saturated and a little bit more overdone, and people are probably getting a little bit tired of them to some degree. So but yeah, I think that's where I kind of want to see things go. Got another comment, Chimera. Man, appreciate you for all your comments, man. It makes the show so much more fun when we get a ton of comments. So that's why I'm not believing Gunn's DCU lineup until official trailers. Because if Superman is about to flop, why would WB greenlight Clayface, Sergeant Rock, Booster Gold, etc.? Yeah, I'm with that one.
Yeah.
I did hear. Yeah, I heard the same stuff that you've heard about the Clayface movie.
Yeah.
That's a little too obscure. Like, that's throw Clayface, make Clayface a villain in your Batman movie. Like,
Yeah.
it's you can't go out of order. Like, you got to establish your temp holes first, and then you can fill it in with some of these other extra characters. Let's not even get into Sergeant Rock. Like,
Yeah.
Sergeant Rock is even more obscure than Clayface. Like that's wild. Like, Booster Gold, I think, would be a cool movie.
I do too.
Not right now. That's like 5, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years down the line. Once you got everything and already set up, why would you swing for a Booster Gold when you don't have your Justice League yet?
And you got to establish your main players first.
Yep.
You got to get, I still don't know. I've heard things about where they want to go with Wonder Woman, Batman. You got to establish, and the thing about it is, like, Marvel does it with Disney Plus. They could do this with Max. They can. So everything doesn't have to be a big picture. But like the thing about like Clayface is, this is a mistake that I think Sony has made. Is they put these sort of their villains, it's sort of like B, C level villains, and they built the movie around, and that movie has always failed. So I would establish main players before I start going to like these sort of B list, C list villains.
Yep. No, 100%. Chimera dropped another comment. Why would you Clayface before a solo Green Lantern or a solo Dr. Fate?
Yeah.
Enough absolutely. Said. Exactly.
And your Dr. Fate, you could Dr. Fate is a character that I think you could do a lot with. And
yes,
I would introduce them really, really quickly. Especially now that Marvel's not hot. Dr. Fate would be one I would get in. Green Lantern, definitely. I think people sleep on Dr. Fate. I would get that one going soon.
Yep. Yep. And I mean, I don't know a ton about Dr. Fate. Everything that I know about Dr. Fate is pretty much from the animated movies that I watch and also the Injustice video game. So, like I said, I'm not super deep on my DC lineup, but yeah, I think that just from everything that I've seen, that would be awesome. Um, I also feel as though, and we went this entire time without mentioning his name, but some of the greatest storytelling in the DC universe are Flash stories.
Yeah.
And for them to I think that Flash needs to be maybe not front and center, but you have an opportunity to rescue an IP in the Flash that is pretty tarnished at this point.
Hmm.
And as far as a power set, as far as the way the powers look on film, I don't think anybody has really nailed it to this point. But if they can figure out a way to do that, I think the stories that you can tell via the Flash are some of the best that I've ever seen. Like the animated man, why is it slipping my mind right now? The animated I literally just watched it for like the third time 2 weeks ago.
Was it the Point Break one?
Yeah, Flashpoint.
Yeah,
Flashpoint Paradox. Legitimately, probably the greatest thing that I've ever seen DC make was that
that's great stuff.
Flashpoint Paradox movie, like animated movie, like
Hmm.
incredible. I mean, like blew my mind just seeing
Hmm.
the alternate versions of Superman, and then the Superman and Wonder Woman fight and stuff. Like, dude, I mean, incredible. Like we if you could just live action that entire movie, I would be sold.
Yeah,
So we need to, you know, like we've said multiple times, we need to get these characters, the main players, get them set up right. I think that as far as Flash is concerned, to me, Flash, every version of Flash that we've seen would fit very well in this version of the DCU. The Flash
yeah,
that we had in Zack Snyder's films didn't really fit with that. I mean, he was too
no,
funny, he was too goofy. But that version of Flash would be perfect in this version of the DCU. So yeah, let's
agreed,
let's let's roll with that. Let's roll with that.
agreed.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
no, you stole that right from me. I was thinking about that. He would be perfect for that. You could DC could really take a lot of hints from their animated movies. They really can. I like how the animated movies kind of introduce. We were talking about Doctor Fate. I like how they've done that with him. And Black Adam killed Doctor Fate, so you can bring that back
Right.
and redo the character
Yep.
really well. But definitely, they need to take some hints from that animated series, their animated movies.
Yep. No, I'm 100% with you on that. 100% with you. All right. I think that's gonna do it for our Superman conversation. Like, dude, that was amazing. That was
Yeah,
great. That was great.
the
I
comics as
can't think of
well.
a better person to have had on to discuss this. So, um, what we're gonna do next, we're gonna move over into the Fantastic Four stuff. So, the way I cut things on this, it'll be released as a separate video. So, if you have anything else you want to say to everybody who just watched this whole like hour-long video on Superman, you got some closing thoughts for everybody?
No, look, I appreciate the comments that we had. My whole thing is just, check it out, make your decision yourself. Try to go in there with an open mind. I know that there's, the Snyderverse that, you got a group that just, they don't want to like it. You got a
Two
group that,
warring factions.
yeah, that loves it. But, check it out and make the decision yourself. And, it's good to have communities like this where we can hash it out.
Yep, 100%. 100%. So yeah, let's now switch over a little bit, and I'm gonna see, like, for whatever reason this isn't like running well. Um but I'm going to see if it'll play well. If it doesn't play well, I'm just gonna have to scrap it, and then maybe we'll come on at a different point once I get the technical side of this. Because for whatever reason, like usually when I show videos on here, everything like runs smoothly. But for whatever reason now, it is not running smooth. So I want to jump into this Fantastic Four trailer that dropped last week, and I'm gonna see how well it runs. And like, why is it jumping all around? Okay. Let me see how well it runs. Cause see, I'm already like glitching out on the screen and I don't like that. So yeah, probably won't do it. Um, but anyway, we'll do one last topic. One last topic. What do you think? Okay, we've already done the DC stuff. As far as the Fantastic Four is concerned, everything that you've seen from it, do you where's your confidence level in how that film is going to perform in the box office and how it's going to continue the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
I I have completely lost faith in the Fantastic Four. Okay, I just want to be clear with that. I'm gonna give it a chance in the hands of in the hands of the MCU now. I have it. It looks really good. Cinematically, the visuals look really good. I like how they're taking it back. Very similar to what we said with Superman. They're giving it that sort of comic book feel. It looks like it was ripped right out of a comic book. I like that. I want to like this movie. The trailers I've seen, I want to like it. But what I've seen out of the MCU past phase one, doesn't give me a lot of confidence. Two, the history of Marvel on the or Fantastic Four on the big screen gives me absolutely no confidence. I refuse to let this I refuse to be hurt by this movie again. The Fantastic Four will not hurt Stephen Lewis again. I have allowed this movie to hurt me, and at some point, you won't do it to me again.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
good, I'm gonna go see it. I'm talking this stuff, but I'm gonna go see it.
Of course. Of
And,
course. Of course.
but it will not hurt me again. I'm such a nerd, and you can see if it's on YouTube. I seen like the very first 1994 Fantastic Four movie. Like I talk to
Wow.
people that didn't even know this movie exists.
Right. Yeah. I don't know of this movie.
Look it up. It used to be on YouTube. You can watch it for free. It was very low budget. Like all the Marvel movies before, like before X-Men were like poorly done, low budget.
Yep.
And they had a 1994 movie. The whole budget went on the Thing's suit, and it was like, and so like when the character was just like the invisible character, when they were supposed to disappear, they would just cut the scene and then they would reappear. It was how bad it was. I watched that movie. I watched the first two. I seen the last one with Michael B. Jordan in it. They were all trash, and I will
Yeah.
not let Fantastic Four hurt me ever again. So as I was long winded to answer your question, I have no confidence. One, because of the history of Fantastic Four, and this past phase of Marvel, I also don't have any confidence with that.
Yep. I think the conversation about the Fantastic Four is going to rival our constant ongoing conversations about the Chicago Bears, and
Mm-hmm.
that they're gonna have to show me. Like we were just talking about how Marvel was at the top of the game. They had everything coming off of Infinity War and Endgame. It was peak cinema. It was amazing, and coming off of that and rolling into um this last phase, I think it's phase 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Rolling into that phase, they allowed themselves to be overwhelmed by putting out stuff that doesn't matter, so much so that you don't know, or people who don't watch everything didn't know what to watch anymore. So there was just so much stuff coming out that you didn't know if you needed to watch it or need to watch it. On top of the amount of stuff that was coming out, the majority of the stuff was bad. It was
Yeah.
bad. It just wasn't good.
Yes.
Then you
Yeah.
had people who felt as though they were wasting their time. Now,
Yeah.
once you get to that point, you
Yeah.
have lost all your goodwill. So Marvel at this point they're gonna have to show me, just like
Mhm.
you. You got to prove it.
Mhm.
Everything looks great from the Fantastic Four that I've seen thus far. It looks great. It sounds great. Like I was just watching the trailer, just listening to um Shalaval's voice, like just listening to the sound design on her voice, I was impressed by that. So obviously they've taken a lot of care with the
Mhm.
way this movie has been put together. I thought Thunderbolts was good.
I did
It
too.
didn't
Yeah.
it didn't perform well. It had its flaws too. Definitely had its flaws. I would have loved to have gotten, I mean, me and you talked about it off camera, but it would have been really cool to get you on right after that movie came out
Yeah.
to discuss that even further. But yeah, I'm in the show me point too. They gotta put it together. They have to build that foundation again that they've lost. And if they can do so, it'll allow a little bit more leeway for them to continue to do what they're doing. But the way it all leads up to Doctor Doom, I'm nervous about that.
Mhm.
They got some heavy work to do pulling everybody along and making us solidly believe that Robert Downey Jr.'s version of Doctor Doom is something that even remotely makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I'm a fan, you're a fan. We're gonna listen to and understand exactly why it's happening. But the normie, the common person out there, they're gonna look at that like, wow, why is he this different character now? So
Right.
you're gonna have to do a lot of
Right.
selling on that, and you're gonna have to
Right.
explain it in a way that everybody's gonna be able to understand. So I hope that they're able to do that. I think Fantastic Four gives everybody it's a good litmus test. Monetarily, the studio needs a win.
Yes. Absolutely.
Thunderbolts did not give them a win.
No.
Financially, it gave them a win critically. I thought that it
Mhm.
was a good movie. It reviewed very well. Fans were very happy with the movie. I was pretty with the movie. You were happy with the movie, but it didn't make
Of course.
enough money. So they really need this movie to come through and make a good amount of money. So Chimera had another comment. Um, I already prefer the cinematography and color grade and tone of Fantastic Four. I do have a little hope for it, but the story got a hit because they pulled me back into the MCU with Thunderbolts. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree
exactly.
with that.
Exactly.
The cinematography is bringing me in. I do like where they're going with it. Visually, it looks amazing. But again, I am not gonna get too hyped up on this movie. I'm gonna go see it as soon as it comes. I've seen them mess up Doctor Doom so much, and
Yeah.
I went in 2015 when they had the whole reboot when Fox rebooted the movie. I like what they were doing. They went with a younger cast. I was really excited about that, and that one was worse than the previous two. That's how bad that one was. And
Yep.
so I can't let them get me this time. I'm like you. I think they definitely need a victory. I like it. It seems like they're giving you an origin story as well. They're just completely rebooting it and rebranding it. So that's exciting, but I'm not ready. I'm not ready to go. I'm not going to go into the theaters with any high expectations for it.
Yep. I think that that's the best way to go about things until they can prove it. I think that going into Infinity War, expectations were high. They met and exceeded those expectations, and then Endgame came along and you even exceeded the Infinity War expectations. So
Hmm.
just to come from that, you can't go into this movie expecting that. And I think that that's a flaw that many of us have at this point, is that we keep waiting for something to hit like that, but
Yeah,
they aren't going to have anything hit us like that until they're able to build. And this is a first step, pun intended, towards
yeah,
that sort of building. And if they can establish the Fantastic Four in the right way and give us a good team up movie, in and of itself, that'll go a long way towards building what they have going towards Doomsday that we have coming up in the end of next year. So yeah, I'm excited for it. I definitely will come back on this channel. I'll bring you on, but I'll come on here and we will give you the real. We will give you the truth, and
absolutely.
we won't sugarcoat it. We're not gonna be like, oh, it was and like, oh, it was amazing. Like if it brings tears to my eyes, I'll let you know, but I doubt it. Um, but
Mhm.
yeah, we definitely aren't bald and or like I feel some of these folks are. Chimera
Yeah.
has one more comment. I've noticed about Fantastic Four is they obviously saw how well the 60s period style worked well with fans in Loki show. Yes, great show. So they put Fantastic Four in that same period. Not a bad choice because from trailers it fits so well. Yeah, and I think that if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but that comic initially was one of the first few comics that they rolled out. So it
Yeah.
is from
Yeah.
that time period. So that's
Mhm.
why that time period sort of fits hand in hand with the story that they're trying to tell. So I'm excited for it. About as excited as I could be for a Marvel project right now until they give me more. Like, now, if this movie comes out and it blows me away, then my expectations are going to go way high,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
that'll be awesome. But yeah, until that
If it
happens,
blows away, that it's the things you could do in Marvel are limitless now. Limitless. It's a way that you can take, and I'm thinking way too far ahead, but you could basically do a soft reboot of T'Challa, the Black Panther, if if Fantastic Four works.
yep.
It allows you to do a lot of things. It allows you to kind of do a soft reboot with the last phase 4. You can get it back on track. So if it works well, there's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you on that. Yeah, I as far as Black Panther goes, and I mean, only because you brought it up, I was initially in the camp where I felt like they shouldn't recast, T'Challa, but as time has went on, I'm definitely in the camp now where they to recast him and they need to recast him immediately.
Mhm.
Um, and from all the rumors that I've heard, with potentially having Damson Idris be the new T'Challa. Like, they need to do whatever they can to sign that brother up right now because that dude is a star. He is a
Absolutely.
star. He is a star. He is a star. You do whatever you can and you
Mhm.
sign him up for as many movies as you can right now because he is the perfect sort of leading guy that you would want in that type of role. You're never going to get anybody to be Chadwick. I think Damson would do a
Right.
darn good job at being Damson and
Mhm.
bringing a level of class and a high level of acting ability to that character, which is something that you need. And I know that, going back and reading the Secret Wars comics, because I went back and read them like a month and a half ago, just as I'm getting more and more prepared for everything coming out in the next few years. T'Challa was a main character in those comics. Like, he was the leader of the Avengers. Like, and to now sort of have to be here telling this story without him, it's, I when I go to watch the movies, I'm gonna feel like something's missing. So they need to recast him, and they need to recast him quickly with an actor who is great. No offense to Shuri, but Shuri isn't Black Panther.
No.
So you need to you need to get we need T'Challa. We need
Mhm.
T'Challa. We don't I don't care. You can if you can explain it away that you bring it to T'Challa from the universe, that's fine. Wherever you gotta do it, just give me a T'Challa on there, and I'll be happy. Comment from that dude named Dave, TDND in the building. What's going on, bro? Salute. 100% salute to you, bro. Thanks for coming in, man. Make sure you hit that like button while you're here. I appreciate you, bro. As always, much love to you, my man. Yeah, just on a little Sunday night stream, having some fun. Not as much fun as you have on your show, but I'm here. I'm here.
Mhm.
Chimera has another comment. Says, agree. I feel like I was in the minority that was excited for the multiverse because all it takes is good writing to bring us back every time. There's so much more to bring to live action. Yep,
Yeah.
100% agree with you,
Yeah.
man. Chimera, you are a star of the show today. If I could give you some sort of award, I would give you that, but I will give you something. I got something for you. I don't know if you hit the subscribe button yet, but if you did, I really appreciate that. I will give you a quick round of applause. And say that I appreciate you for coming through tonight. Almost like just the when you have comments that are in sync with the things that you're saying, it makes you feel good because you know that you're not just like on some crazy island,
Right.
saying
Right.
stuff that like, oh, nobody's gonna believe this, like,
Right.
and not that there's anything wrong with being on crazy island sometimes, but I just feel like I'm pretty grounded. Steve, I know that you're grounded in your thoughts on things too, and I just feel like there's a way to go about doing some things as far as these comic book movies go, and it's really not that difficult if
No.
I made the comment when you were over at the house yesterday that if I was paid the amount of money that NFL coaches are paid to watch personnel and to make decisions and stuff, like I think that I could be pretty darn good at that job too. I think that if I was paid the amount of money and given the job and opportunity to be a writer for one of these movies, I don't have to necessarily be the head writer, but I can give some darn good ideas and I can show you how to execute them. I might not be able to bring it all the way home, but I can set you on the right path where you guys who make all the millions can then, take it on home from there. But yeah, I honestly, man, Steve, I really enjoyed doing this tonight. I can't wait to have you on again. We have to do a review for Fantastic Four when it comes out. I don't know if I'm going to see it on like the Tuesday preview day or if it's going to be Thursday, but the Sunday after it comes out, make sure you have your schedule clear so that you can be on here, my man. I really appreciate it, man. I really
Anytime.
appreciate it.
Anytime. Anytime. I appreciate the comments. Kept the show going. But anytime you want to come do a review, I'm here.
Oh man, I really appreciate that. TDND with a comment said likes up when walking in. Yes, 100%, man. If you have not hit the like button and you're watching this right now, please hit that like button. Even more so, hit that subscribe button, man. We are trying desperately to get to 500 subscribers. And at last check, we were at 430 some odd subscribers. So yeah, you can be a part of getting us over to that $500 or 500 subscriber mark. So I would appreciate it if you were able to help us out with that. And Chimera has one more comment that I'm going to read. It says exactly, especially with all this fake praise towards Superman. These reviews are so fake. Yeah, man. I don't want to say that. I want to think better of people that the reviews aren't fake, but it's just, and everything for everybody, and I get that, but like this movie didn't hit me the way it hit some people. Like when I heard people were crying, man,
Yeah.
like
That's
off of this
that's
this
ridiculous.
this is your Superman. This is the one that got you in tears.
But
Really?
there's a lot of podcasters, there's a lot of reviewers that want to stay in the good grace of DC. They want to keep getting invited to these events. So if they find something that they like in this movie, they are going to exaggerate on it. Okay, they're
Yep.
going to exaggerate on it. So yeah, I think that's one of the issues that people they don't want they want to stay in the good grace, the good hands of DC, keep getting invited to the events. So they do what they need to do.
I get that. I get that. I mean, and at a certain point, that all goes into. I'm sure all of that stuff went into DC's marketing budget, and I don't want
Oh,
to like. I want to think better of a lot of people, but yeah, they do, and I mean they're
oh
human,
yeah.
and I would enjoy being flown out to go see the Fantastic Four. But you better believe if the movie is trash, I'm gonna say that, and I don't think it's gonna be. Superman wasn't trash, but it wasn't what a lot of people were making it seem. So that
Oh
was
yeah.
a little bit disappointing to me. But if you want that real, if you want um the how the common person is going to feel about a movie, I think you can find that right here on this channel. Watch stuff with us. So Dave dropped a comment and said, "No love for immigrant Superman." See, now you bringing some of the politics from your channel over onto this one. We're not gonna do the we're not gonna do immigrant Superman on here today. Have me on your show, and then we could talk about immigrant Superman and all the symbolism behind Superman in the story. Because we had Zach Superman was Christ, and then this Superman is the immigrant Superman. So but yeah, we're not gonna do all that today. But yeah, man, I truly appreciate everybody for tuning in today. please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment below, and hit that notification bell so that you are notified each and every time we go live in 2025. And with that being said, Steve, I love you and I appreciate you, bro. I will see you back on here in a couple of weeks when we do this Fantastic Four. And throughout the week, I will be dropping a video Monday through Friday, as always, doing some sort of trailer review and probably chopping this up into bits and pieces. So if you enjoyed it now and want to catch the replay, you can catch it next week. Until then, I will see you all when I see you. Peace.